Welcome back to another. You know what? We're not the Pick Six YouTube show anymore. We're just us. We're just us. DPZ's back on the show, and he's got some things to say. He made a comment here this last week about selling everything. So now his kids all have gold grills in their mouth, platinum grills, and brand new everything. Dennis, what's going on, man?
No, I actually, I probably shouldn't have done that. I was actually trying to, I was doing a little social experiment
Yeah.
to see what my cards were actually worth. I thought that was a fun idea. I didn't actually think through someone might actually start selling their cards to save capital to buy a card for me. And then I talked to a few people who are like, well, anybody who does that's kind of not very smart. You should always strike a deal before you start selling your cards. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, still the spirit of it probably was misleading and I shouldn't have done that. But I was just genuinely curious. Okay, how much are my cards worth if I were to go, hey, I'm out, everything's for sale, send me your best offer. And I got a lot of great offers. To all those that sent me offers, thank you so much. And I'm sorry if I misled anybody and kind of played the game. But then at a time, I was actually, here's the thing. I did that. And then I got some really great offers. And I was like, gosh, maybe I should sell some of these cards. Man, these are pretty great offers for these cards. And so I was actually thinking about it. So I guess technically there was some truth in it because I did actually start thinking about it after I got some pretty competitive offers. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
So what stopped you though?
What's that?
But what stopped you? You know, because I mean, something stopped you, obviously.
What ultimately stopped me from actually going through with it, and of course, mind you, and I'll caveat everything with like, if someone were to actually sell cards because they thought I was selling something, even ill-advised as that was to do, I would honor that, especially if they were talking to me about a price or whatever. I would honor that. So not that I would want to with some cards, but then that's the game I play. That's the price I pay.
Yep.
So to speak, that I would have done that just because that's the right thing to do. But nonetheless, what stopped me was looking at a lot of these cards and going, wow, I'm never going to be able to buy them again. Like I'm not going to get these cards, especially now. I think so much more maturity in our hobby with people that are collecting cards, not people that are flipping, but people that are collecting cards. There's way more maturity, right? So there's
more people with money that actually want the cards,
right?
You know, that want them. They're
not going to sell it. And case in point, I have a couple cards that I sold, Griffey's, that I'm not able to get back. They're in Griffey collectors' hands, and they are not letting them go. They're not going to let them go, and I don't blame them. I think totally understand. They need to keep those. If I'd go back, I wouldn't sell those, right? I would sell almost anything else, because they're so rare. You know, these cards out of 25, out of 24, out of 20, out of 10, out of 5, whatever. Yeah. Some of these cards are just they're just you're not going to see them. And some of them, they may have more of a pop, or maybe they're out of 100, but they don't come to market. People keep them. Nobody wants to sell them. So that also starts kind of bringing up a whole other topic I'll dive into about how grade on some of these cards isn't going to be as important as having the card itself, depending on how rare and sought after it is. Sometimes, a PSA 4 is okay. We look at, why is it a PSA 4? Okay, it's this little thing here. I can see what's causing it to be a 4. Can I live with that? Yeah, it still looks great. Card presents beautifully. Yeah. I still get to own the piece of cardboard. It's great. So yeah, I didn't want to sell them because of those very reasons. I feel like a lot of those types of cards are getting picked up, swallowed up, and they're going into diamond hand collectors' hands, and they're not selling them. And I'm part of this really cool Griffey group. Dwayne, I'm looking right at you, buddy. Matt, Rob, Jason.
A great example of that too, before you go on, Dennis, I think like a great example of that too is when Nat Turner bought in 2019, 2020, when he bought the green Jordan PMG for like $400,000. And that was like, wow, he spent $400,000, but the card was authentic altered. Like it's a trimmed card. And that's like the ultimate example of like, who cares? It could have been literally like the card was cut in half and you were getting half the card, and it probably would have pulled, the same money, because it
just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You get the card, and sometimes just getting the card is what matters. The KB24 Arthur, another really great dude. Kobe collector. Amazing. I mean, thankfully he sold me a couple of his really nice Kobe's, or at least one of them, I think for sure. One of them. Very, very cool hand numbered diamond dimensions, die cut PSA 9 Kobe. I mean, hand numbered out of 100. Like those are the kind of cards you're like, there's like 5 of them or 6 of them, right? Out there, period. Even though there's 100, there's not very many. Quote me, I'm probably wrong on that, Pop, but there's just not very many and then never sells. So that's a card where I was able to get it from him because he was leveling up to buy another really huge Kobe card. And I got to take advantage of that. Just like I got another Griffey card from a guy named, I'll use his name just because probably keep things private, but another really prominent Griffey collector was leveling up to get the now. And I was able to pick up the Man Refractor PSA 9 out of 75, which is a very sought after card for us Griffey folks. So I've been able to capitalize on getting cards when guys are consolidating too, that you would never get. The cards just don't sell. So those types of cards, they weren't selling before. Some might come out because of the price influx, but not as many as you'd think. Like there's finally a Bonds 24 karat gold PSA 7. Wharf just launched it yesterday. I just kicked off at the Fanatics premiere. I have the PSA 8, and I have a lot of interest in that. That's probably my best card. I think it'll be my most expensive card someday if I keep it. I think it'll easily be a 6-figure card at some point. Not like in the next couple of years, mind you, but probably 5-10 years down the road, I'm sure it will be.
And watch the 7. The 7 goes for $100,000. And then
the 7 goes for $100,000. Then I'm gonna have all my buddies in my Griffey group giving me a hard time, like, dude, you got to sell that, bro. What are you doing?
And then the following month.
Get your 97 embossed.
And then all of a sudden, Dennis is like, I mean, it'll never get there. It'll be years. And then all of a sudden, we see Dennis with Ken Golden on the next Golden 100. And he's there like yelling about, like, there's the Declaration of Independence. And then there's Dennis with the 24 karat gold Bonds 8.
I am like so far beyond important enough, not nearly as important to be around all those, big hobby personalities. I doubt it. I will ever be in those rooms. But, I think, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, I was able to get some of these really cool cards that are probably the most valuable cards in my collection because people were coloring up to something big and they had to let it go. And that usually came Spinatron, same thing with the D-Rob. Now I got from him is like, hey, if you're ever going to sell this, I want first right of refusal. You come back to me first. It's kind of one of those gentlemen's agreements we have with these kinds of cards coming out of a very strong collection into mine. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the deal. So no, I wouldn't, and I got that PSA 8 from somebody else, another great collector that thankfully sold that one to me. And so, I'd go back to him probably too and go, hey, I'm going to move this. You're any interest, right? So, now you don't have to do that. And there can probably be some dissension on that. Like, no, I'm going to go sell it. I spent the money, the deal's over. Yeah, but I like to keep my relationships intact. I didn't think that's important to do. Am I going to sell it back for the same price I bought? No, obviously that's not going to be the case, but I would always want to talk to that person just because I think that's the right thing to do. But that's the kind of cards that you're getting, right? You have to have those kind of conversations. You're waiting for them to become available, or they just become available. You're like, I never thought this person would ever sell this card. Okay, what's it going to take to get that? That's really, really cool. And then you somehow make it work. Those are opportunities that come around. It's harder to do that now because, again, like I've always said, it's really hard to get those kinds of prices now, because you're going to have to sell something really big to go buy it, because I can't just go buy it, right? No one can just go spend that kind of money on a card, at least those of us that are raising families and all that right now. So with limited means. So I think that those types of cards are going to kind of go away, and they're going to start getting locked up. So I think there's going to be a desire for any grade of the card. Sometimes an authentic is going to work, right? Sometimes just a raw copies are going to be tough now with the PSA stuff, right? There's so many things we can talk about today because of the grading thing, and with PSA kind of and what does that mean for everybody else? Beckett, SGC, right? There's a lot of places I'm kind of going all over, but I guess the main point of this first piece that we're talking through is, no, I didn't want to sell because I'm never going to get these back. And I think at some point they're just going to disappear, and then you're not going to see them for a long time. And so then I'm kind of going, hey, I want to get a Dunkin' Donuts card, because I always think Dunkin' Donuts cards, those are cool cards. I really want to get a high voltage card. I want to get some of these cards that are like a jambalaya. So I went Allen Iverson to get a Dunkin' Donuts. I went Allen Iverson.
Are you still buying those What are they? The Jordan like decades of
Yes.
excellence?
Yeah.
Or?
No, I have a handful of those. I have a couple Jordans right now, and a CGC copy and an SGC 9. That's the one I'll probably just hang on to. I might just sell the other ones. I don't know. I don't need 4 of them, but I just wanted a high grade copy of it because it's a really hard card to mint, to gem, especially because the centering top to bottom is based off my studying of that set for the last 3 weeks. Hasn't been that long. Centering top to bottom is usually a problem. It's usually there's hardly anything. It's like off center from the top bottom down. So I got a pretty decent copy that I can feel good about, knowing the set and the condition sensitivity and all that stuff. So that's a cool one. Yeah. And that was Kiwi Cards. I think it's Kiwi Cards. He did that Jordan top 30. I wouldn't even known of that card if it wasn't for him. So a lot of cool content coming out, a lot of great content to teach
Who is
you
that?
about cards.
I don't know. Who is that?
He is, we got to shout him out properly. I will tell you exactly who he is. I wish I could, you might be able to
pull it up.
Punch out, punch in. So it's not stupid me looking up a guy. Let's see. Hold on, he's back. Cool. Is Grail and the Goat. Grail and the Goat. Kiwi Cards. Kiwi _ cards with a K. Is he has this Jordan, I'll do a little show you what I'm looking at. Share screen. Well, you know what? This guy, you're gonna get some free publicity, my friend. It's not letting me do
Is it YouTube or IG?
IG.
Oh, okay. I was looking him up on YouTube.
Yeah, here he is. Kiwi Cards. Not a ton of followers.
Kiwi
kind of
Cards.
under the radar, but does a really good job. He put this Jordan's 30 together. Shows you the print runs. Like here's number 30. I got this in a PSA 10, this Michael Jordan Warp Zone. I went and snagged that one. It's the only PSA 10 Jordan I have, but it's kind of a cool, it's one that, they only printed so many, right? 417. That was the print run. It's not very many, that's not a lot. Only 400 of these. This is the card where I was just talking about the rare traditions. You can see the top and bottom centering on this is a really good copy. A little off. Obviously, it's off. Centering on this card is just pretty crazy. So that is a good follow if you are into 90s cards, if you're into,
That's
Michael
cool, man.
Jordan. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that I've been kind of paying attention to. And I think, and then you see some of those raw come up and start selling for over $100, which is kind of interesting. So there's been movement already. And I think everybody kind of gets hip to stuff and they kind of try to find, hey, where's that place I can go where someone hasn't gone yet, right? Where's that opportunity for me to get some cool rare cards that you don't have sitting on eBay for $5,000 where it used to be like $400 3 weeks ago kind of thing. Trying to avoid that. And so, my pickups as of late have been Allen Iverson, a lot of Allen Iverson, just because I feel like he's such a cool player, such an iconic player, and he's in all the cool sets in the 90s. Like he's in all those really cool sets. So I'm able to kind of get a card from some of those sets where you can't afford Jordan or you can't afford Kobe anymore. You don't really want Tim Duncan. So AI is kind of he's still that exciting player. So I've kind of loaded up on him a little bit. And just for the sake of having some of those cards in a mint or near mint condition, I was able to get a couple of them anyway. And then the rest are lower grade. But an Ultra Stars Gold, PSA 6, still a really cool card, very rare. Happy to have it in a 6. Get some BGS slabs too. BGS 9, Thunder and Lightning, Allen Iverson. There's only 2 of them. I think there's 4 between PSA 9 and BGS 9. There's 4 of them that highly graded. And is it going to be Michael Jordan Thunder and Lightning prices? No, but I could still get a higher grade copy of that in BGS, and it works. It's just why spend the premium on the PSA? So that's kind of where I've been at. That's what I've been looking. I've been noticing how I've been playing in the hobby in the space. But the PSA shutdown, man, you've had 25 videos on it, I'm sure. But
I've been like today's video was well, it was the weekly video kind of looking at PSA eBay stuff, but also just talking about like now what with, you know, if you're going regular grading for $79, I mean, basically it means if you're going to go that route, it's got to be higher dollar cards, you know, like obviously you're not sending a $75 card in at $79, you know,
Right.
so it's more like $500 to $1,000 raw card. Maybe that makes sense for you or whatever, but there's still opportunities. The one thing I think is interesting is there's, you know, typically it's like, oh man, like this card on eBay, it's probably trash. Like if this card is sitting on eBay, why isn't this? How come they didn't send it to PSA? Well, now, I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's $79. I'm not taking the risk. So I think there's actually going to be a lot of really nice, like really clean looking cards where people are just like, hey, I'm just going to move this raw. You know, like I can't wait. I can't wait the time, and I don't want to take the risk on the $79.
But it sounds like it's mostly TCG and Pokemon though that's causing this glutton of cards.
Well,
it's because of it's us.
Dude, it's because of the resale on the 10s is crazy. Like it'll be like $50 raw card is like $800, you know, PSA 10. Like the ratios are crazy. So that's why you have people that are like, yeah, I'll take a shot on this. Plus they're rounded corners.
Like who are buying?
A lot of people are buying them. I know that they're not in our world, but
yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, I mean, there must be obviously it's a huge market for Pokemon. It's international, it's worldwide. I'm not going to begin to try to understand it or pretend I do. I don't. So that's crazy. Well, I guess that makes sense then. I mean, there you go. You create an opportunity. People are going to take full advantage of it. I mean, I wonder why PSA didn't ramp up for that. But, you know, I still have cards sitting in their vault taking a long time to get back to me. And, you know, they're doing the best they can. You know, I'm not a PSA apologist or anything like that. I like Nat. I think they run a good ship over there, but I think just getting overloaded. But then again, they own everything now too. You got Beckett and SGC. So what does that mean for that? Does that mean they're hoping there's going to be more love for BGS and SGC? You're going to get more people submitting. Okay, we do this whole new rebrand on the slab for Beckett. Now all of a sudden we're announcing we're going to cut off value brand. Are we trying to drive more value towards the Beckett slab and the SGC slab for collectors? I don't know. There's lots of different ways you can look at it. I mean, obviously they're responding to the demand, but I think it's a crapshoot to grade anyway. It's so hard to grade cards anyway, right?
They got stuck with like Prismatic was the one that caught them off guard. Prismatic Evolutions was a huge release that kind of caught them off guard. And Nat Turner said that it caught them off guard. But then like every set since has been like red hot. So it's basically like now like everything comes in. And then their most recent set, what is it, Ascended Heroes or whatever it's called, has huge chase cards in it. You know, I mean, like it's just not stopped. It's been like as soon as that thing dropped, and that set's even still popular, and there's been like 7 sets since, you know. So I think that's been the one thing I think that they probably could have, like if we're playing like Monday morning quarterback, they could have raised the prices on TCG faster. Like I remember when they went from like TCG at $17 a card bulk. I remember talking about this in videos, like, and they bumped it to $19. This is going back in time, you know, a little bit. And I remember like back then they probably should have been like TCG is $29 or whatever, you know, and then they could have at least kind of curbed it a little bit. But, you know, it's always like hindsight's 2020 with any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's tough to look back and go, okay, I would have done this. I mean, you know. I sent in a bunch of stuff. I actually, before it was announced, I didn't have any anticipation that was going to happen. And I sent in a bunch of value stuff, like older hockey cards that my Uncle Guy had that I grabbed from him. Just going to, you know, see if I can get some grades on. I mean, I actually did the value. I submitted about 4 or 5 that were the potential to be pretty expensive, or, you know, rookie cards, and like a Guy Lafleur rookie card, 71 top or 71 OPG, 71 tops. No, 71 OPG. They had the potential to be worth more if they grade well, and I think they're okay. I mean, I looked really closely at them, but I've done it before and they come back like a 5. So I don't know. Yeah. Surface is tough. It's hard to see the surface, right? But, I sent that in. So we'll see how long it takes not the value, but the $80 tier. I think it's when I submitted the lowest tier now that's available. I did 4 or 5 cards, and the others I did the whatever. So I'm sure I won't see those for another year. But
well, it should still be. I mean, I think it's on the site at like 50 or 60 business days or something like that. So it's not crazy. Like you should have it back in the next, I would say like 50, 60 business days, like 90 days. You know, like you would
I
think.
mean, if I do, it's great. Those ones I wasn't worried about. I figured they could take longer. I knew demand was there. I knew it was going to take longer. I mean, just how everything has been taking a long time. And you buy a card on eBay and you have the authenticity of just if you have it sent to your PSA vault, you have the authenticity thing happen, and then it takes usually like 2 weeks to get it from there to the vault, just to get it there. And then once it arrives, you say, okay, ship it back to me. That takes, and I just heard from someone at PSA, that's taken about 15 to 20 days just to ship it back to you. Once you say, please retrieve it. So in essence, you can buy a card the beginning of June and not get it in your hands if you send it to the PSA vault until the end of July. So you take 2 months from purchase to getting the card in your hand. If you go vault, if it's authentic, the authenticity guarantee, then that adds some time to it. But if it's just nothing, then then it just gets to you. But it just takes longer. It takes longer, you know. Same thing with Fanatics. You buy something there, you put in an order. It takes about 7 to 10 days to get it.
Yeah, I've had a couple of PC things that I bought. Like I bought PSA 9 89 score Barry Sanders with a 10 auto. You know, like the auto. You know, I'd love to have a 10-10. Love to have the 10-10, and I did the same with the 88 Topps Bo Jackson.
I know. You showed me that. Really good auto too on that.
And that one, that's a good example of one where like I vaulted it to save on the sales tax, and then I went ahead to have it sent home, and it'll take probably 6 weeks to get to me, you know, to get it. But I'm kind of like, but I don't want to pay, you know, $80 in sales tax or whatever.
Yeah, when you're buying like a $2,000 or $3,000 card,
yeah, it's huge. Well, and that was what was it? That was an $800. No, that was only a $400 or $500 card. The Barry was an $800 card, and it's like $60 or $70 a tax or whatever. It's like, like, you know, I'd rather just I'll wait a couple months to have it in my hands. But a lot of the stuff I've been doing, I've been flipping cards, like just buying the card, vaulting it, and then selling it from the vault. Like not like just, I bought one actually in my video today. It was a Tyler Shuck card. I bought it April 8th for $237. And on May 19th, I sold it for $330. They take their fees so I made like $50 on the card. But that was one literally where like it's on eBay in the vault. They just transfer ownership to me. And then I just sold it, you know, through the vault. I never touched it. And I'll probably be doing more of that, frankly, if I'm just flipping, you know, as opposed to like mailing it back and, you know, trying to do all that.
You know, and you bring up an interesting point, I think. And what I've noticed too is if PSA is selling the card and you buy it, you instantly gets transferred ownership over to you. So you don't have to wait about, there's no authenticity thing. There's no shipping it all over. It just goes right from your vault to your vault, their vault to your vault.
That's why I shop there. Yeah.
And then you're still saving on the sales tax, which is cool. So that's like the best scenario. I've bought a few cards like that where it's just like that, like that. But then you're still waiting a couple weeks to get it from the vault. But that's not so bad because now you're skipping all those other. So it's probably the fastest way. Because even if you buy something on Fanatics, I bet you it still takes longer to get it shipped to you. And I mean, I'm in Seattle. Fanatics, like they're Tigard, Oregon, so they're just in Portland. So when they send it to me, it takes a day. So I still think it's faster if I were to buy a card that's being sold by PSA from somebody else's vault to be transferred directly over to my vault, then have it shipped to me the minute it arrives, go retrieve. It'd be interesting to see if I bought a card at the same time as how quickly would they? I'd be an interesting experiment. How fast would it get here? Right? Would it take longer? I bet you Fanatics would probably still beat it because there's less because you have to send it from the vault. It's coming from Delaware. So I'm way over here. So it's a little bit. Yeah. That's the reality. And honestly, so what's that say about our hobby though? What's that say about collecting in cards right now? I mean, we were doing these videos and these shows.
Yeah.
For years now. We were doing it when everything was like bleh, and we're all down, and now everybody's giving me card time for being too negative, and you know.
Well, and maybe that's another reason why card shows are so popular, because you go and you go to the show, it's in your hands, and then you take it home. You know, like you pay for it, and then you know you're not dealing with any of the shipping and all that stuff. You have it in.
Let me ask you this question. This would be a fun question for you because you know we were doing this. We've been doing this for a while now, and we were buying cards during the dip. You know, we'll call it the dip that was before this, right? Because you had 2021 and then went, and then you kind of, right?
Yeah.
So during that period of time, and I know I was pretty busy, you know, I think I owned at one point 3 or 4 different red PMGs, like Ray Allen, Charles Barkley, like 3 different times David Robinson. I wish I had any of all those back now. Like I feel like I knew I shouldn't have sold it at the time. I was like, this is not be a good idea. Or Barry Sanders mirror gold, like PSA 9. Why did I get it? Some of these cards, I'm like, I didn't think this was going to happen, but I knew there was appreciation opportunity there. But man, is there a card that you have? Because I have a handful of them. Heck, the Barry Bonds 87 Top Tiffany PSA 10. Like I was buying that for $1,000.
Yeah.
And now they're selling for like almost $5,000.
I'm trying to think back to what did I buy what did I buy that was like a bigger purchase? I bought a graded comic book, Giant Size X-Men dipped really hard, and I got a 9.6 of that, for example. On the card side, you know what I bought a lot of during the dip was like the Tom Brady numbered prism stuff. So like 2015 light blue, kind of, because I wasn't spending huge money until, well, I shouldn't say I'm not spending huge money now, but like during that time, especially, I was buying more like collector cards that I just wanted to keep, or I was buying like Tom Brady, the light blue prism for like $200. Now they're like $1,000, and actually I've sold a lot of those. I've just moved off of them because I'm just like, these aren't, I mean, maybe they have upside or whatever, but I'm just kind of riding the wave, like the GOAT wave, where everything seems like it's going kind of nutty. And those aren't cards that I'm really like tied to. I'm not really a Tom Brady fan. I'm just buying it. Like if I'm going to pick a GOAT, I'd rather go Michael Jordan and have some Michael Jordan stuff over Tom Brady.
Speaking of which, so you bought your Michael Jordan. How much appreciation you seen on that?
The star stuff is up huge. Yeah. I mean, the star stuff is up like pretty massive. I'm just trying to think though. Did it fall? Yeah, I guess it did fall into it was 2024 when I got that stuff.
So you got a PSA 5, right?
5.5. Yeah, actually, my buddy sent me a 5 that sold for $50,000. So yeah, those things.
5.5 stuff because they don't sell very often, right? So it's hard to get a comp on that one.
Yeah, there's a 5 that sold for $50,000, and then there's a 5.5 that sold a couple months ago for like 34. So you don't like it's kind of all over the place. But you can have those cards. It could be like a 5.5 that looks like trash. Not trash, but like it might be like centered really badly, or maybe there's a bad corner or whatever. Or maybe just somebody got a great deal on that one. It happens.
Now, would you ever sell that card? And would you sell into this strength right now? Or would you hang on to that?
I'm not gonna sell it because I don't think. I guess here's my thing is, and this is probably it's probably 2021 all over again, and we're all like, it's fine, everything looks great, but I just don't feel like we have the same sort of markers where it was like yeah, we've got stupid money for sure being spent on dumb things, but it feels a little bit different this time, and I feel like we've got more of a runway. So
you want to hear what scares me the most? Jeff Wilson put out a video about how everybody needs to start buying goats. It's not. It was like the least surprising thing anyone could ever make a video about. No offense, Jeff, but yeah, you're right. You're right. That is where people are going, and they should go. And honestly,
yeah, I would agree with them if there wasn't one generational prospect about to take over the league.
Oh, my brother. You're so
too late,
man. You've drinking all the Kool-Aid and you have another pitcher coming. Like you were so in. Look at you.
I literally bought another Shuck card last night. I'm just
funny, man. You know what though? If it works out, you're gonna look great, bro. You are gonna look really good. You're gonna be able to get. How many videos can you put out doing your victory lap?
So this is the one that'll either make me or break me. And I'll tell you this. And here's the reason why. I've never felt like, and I know it's like, oh, it's the Saints. Great. But it's not just that though. It's also the fact that I just feel like if he was playing for the Dolphins, I wouldn't be probably buying as hard because, I'm a Saints fan. So this is like, oh, this is fun. I'm going to watch every snap. But if I saw him flying under the radar for the Dolphins, I would do the same thing. It's like, this is like such an obvious one to me, but you're right though. It's like one of those, it's like go big or go home. I've gone big. It could be a disaster. Like odds are horrible, with quarterbacks, so
Yeah,
I
but you
feel
gotta have
like,
fun. You're like you're
yeah.
buying a lottery ticket, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, it's not all you're doing.
And there's a little bit of runway there. It's not like, unless he has a career-ending injury, which is every active athlete, you're basically up against that. So,
yeah, I think that Jeff put out that video, and I was looking to go, is this an older video? I just got it's just popping up on my. No, it's new, and I'm like, okay, this is concerning me.
this is a sign of the top.
Well, it concerns me in the sense that, and I'm with you. I don't think it's a bunch of just stupid money. Yeah, there's probably some of that stuff going on, but there's a lot of discernible voices in this community, especially online. Everybody spends all this time online that are saying, no, this or that. They're doing a lot of this or that. And there's a lot of people going, why would you do, somebody's doing it, obviously, but then most of the crowd is like, why would you buy that when you can get that?
I can't wrap my head around the economy too. Like, I saw a report where like it was like major CEOs, came out. Did you see this? Where there was some sort of report where like major CEOs came out and they were like, in the next 6 months, we are not like, we don't feel good about like 6 months from now type thing. But I feel like we've been doing that for years, where it's like,
say that all the time, man.
I know it's like,
we went through COVID, went through the 2008, we've gone through a lot of these things, bro. Like I think because people are the herd mentality isn't like it used to be. So people are thinking for themselves a lot more now. And I think that's also happening in the hobby. People are starting to get wise. So when I say Jeff Wilson puts out a video like that, you're going to get all the people that follow everything Jeff Wilson says and go, oh, well, that's what I should be doing. Now they're going to all start buying those cards. So what that did for me is me like, all right, gosh, things are about to get expensive because everybody's going to start buying everybody. And they're going to consider GOATs. And you can't just buy Kobe, Michael Jordan, and LeBron. I mean, there's more than those guys, right? You're going to Tom Brady. You're going to have to go a little bit out because there's only so many cards. If everybody goes and buys the same, okay,
Drew Brees, baby.
Well, no, Drew Brees. Yeah, no, Drew Brees is kind of the Allen Iverson of football.
What's funny is I heard somebody talk. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't our buddy Drake, although I'm sure Drake was probably like, "Yes, keep saying it." But basically, this guy was like, Peyton Manning cards are so underpriced. I'm thinking like, all I've heard about is Peyton Manning cards over the last 4 years. What about this guy, man? Who everybody forgot about Dre. They forgot about Drew Brees, dude.
I mean, forget about Drew Brees. No, Drew Brees is amazing. I think guys, and that's what I'm thinking. I think guys like Drew Brees, some of these second tier, players, they're going to start getting some love, especially in those cool sets. Not just any card, right? I'm talking about the sets that, So I went and scooped up a bunch of AI because I'm like, well, that's the next guy I can afford to get into some of these cool sets because I want to get the highest grade I can get anyway, afford in some of these sets where I just can't afford MJ or Kobe. It doesn't make sense. Even some Griffies are kind of getting out of control. So I was able to go get some of those with him, and he's pretty cool. So, yeah, I think that now that kind of video is being put out there, you're going to have this like exodus of people. Not exodus of people. That doesn't make sense. This mass of people that are going to, all right, I'm going to start buying these cards now. Whoever wasn't already thinking that, I can't imagine that. It's hard for me to believe there's anybody still out there going, what? I shouldn't just go buy a bunch of modern stuff and, take a risk on every new quarterback every year. I can go buy
what's your thoughts on this? So and this isn't like a brand new idea, but it is, I guess, kind of in this way. Well, no, it's not a brand new idea, but I was contemplating just gold prisms from like 2012 to 2020, but not the friggin' Tom Brady and the, like all the huge ones, but basically just like collector players, like who are the players in like 20 years that like, on the basketball side, you could probably pick them, like not necessarily Allen Iverson, but we're talking about kind of the newer players this year or this generation. And they might not be like maybe it's like Draymond Green or something, like a guy that's like, he's not a top scorer or anything, but he's a popular player. But my thought is like, are people going to go back? Because now we're kind of seeing like, we probably won't have licensed Prism for, a minimum of 20 years. If Fanatics is going to be locked in and Topps is going to have the licensing for 20 years. So, and that's at a minimum. So 2012 to 2020, I was seriously contemplating this for football, just looking at football and basketball in particular, and just trying to find deals where I could they're not giving them away. And I'm talking about true golds, so true golds out of 10. But, I mean, if you look at it, the checklist is usually like 300 cards for each year. You got 10 golds. So you got 3,000 total golds that were made, period, every single year. It's not really that many. It's not that many cards. And I'm not talking about necessarily commons, but, halfway decent players. They don't even need to be Hall of Famers. But I was thinking
well, let's talk about I'll use an example here.
Like I love 2017 and 18 Prism. I love those sets. Just the design of those sets. I don't think it necessarily has to be 2012 Prism. I think that there's a lot of, I don't know. I just think that down the road, that's going to be something that people appreciate.
I do. I'm looking at Calvin Johnson. I brought him up when you start talking about guys that could be.
It's the same dude as like 2005 to 2010 exquisite football. Like all you ever hear about is exquisite basketball. All you ever hear, this is, I think this is 2005. Let me see. But like, here's an example where you've got triple autograph, Deuce McAllister, LaDainian Tomlinson, Edgerrin James. It's either, this is 2005. This is first year exquisite. I think I got the card. They're all on card. I think I got it for like $100 or $150. We're talking about like an LT auto from first year exquisite. I mean,
I think football has the longest opportunity, has the biggest opportunity for growth, just because all you've really seen is like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. You haven't seen a lot of, the modern players, obviously you've got some money spent, but I'm talking about the guys that are, maybe the freshly retired players from that era, anything from like 2003, 2004, you got 2007 and then 2008. Topps Chrome, we've talked about that in the past. Those are really cool sets for all sports, especially basketball and football. I think football has a lot of opportunity. I love 2007. I have a 2007 red is that a 139? Out of 139 Tom Brady red refractor, PSA 10, and have a PSA 9 out of 25 2008 Topps red refractors. Those are cool cards to me. I just wanted to get a couple Tom Brady's. I love Topps Chrome. Those sets are really cool. Obviously, people are buying the supers and all that from those sets, but I think the white refractors, some of the red refractors, blue refractors from those years in football, there's opportunities there. You got Adrian Peterson's rookie card. There's lots of cool cards you can get in those sets. Of course, I'm going back to Topps Chrome. I think I kind of lean back into Topps Chrome based on what you're saying, your years in Prism. I think because Topps is out now and it's popular and you got football, modern, there's that modern connection. You can tie it back to, okay, what about the players that I used to watch when I was growing up? Where are their Topps Chrome's cards at? Well, you got to go back to the 2000s to get them, right? So those can see some life. But football has an opportunity to grow. So yeah, I'd be Drew Brees, especially. Drew Brees is a guy I should appreciate. He's probably down. He could probably grow, right? Because eventually everybody gets all the other guys and they're just like, okay, who's next?
Well, it's kind of like Marino and Elway got people are coming back on those cards. Those cards have gone. A lot of their cards have gone up dramatically, and they haven't played in a long time. There was it took a while for them to be kind of fully appreciated.
I think any Hall of Famer, any notable sort of culturally relevant player in basketball, football, or baseball, if the hobby keeps growing like it is, they're going to be sought after. Because it can't just be Jordan and Kobe. Because eventually, you run out of stuff. There's a lot of cards, a lot of their stuff, but you run out of all those sought after stuff. Just gets swallowed up and you're not going to find it anymore. It's already been happening. Or people are going to just gouge your eyes out with the price. So you can still get into some of these really cool sets and all the different years, Prism, Topps Chrome, Exquisite, whatever. If you're finding a lesser tier player, so you can go get the set. You can go get a card from the set. Because I think that sets will still have that prevalence. The sets are gonna still be important too. The card in the set, right? What is it? No nameplates? Is it the limited logos? Is it all those different kinds of those brands of those the first year of Flawless. I know Adam Gray always talks about first year of Flawless being a big deal and trying to get cards from that set. When it's the first year, those are the types of plays that you can make where you can because you can build out your PC in a way where you're getting a cool card is what I try to do. You're trying to get a cool card from every one of those sets, right? It's not always going to be the best player because you're not going to be able to afford it, but you can, I mean, I can get a David Robinson 2012 flawless patch auto card. Try to get one of those, or maybe, or somebody else. Playing days would be kind of nice, right? But 2012 is the first year, so non-playing days, does it matter? I don't know. I mean, not as much, but yeah, if you can get a playing days guy, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool to collect that way too, because you're putting together a PC of cards from all these different cool iconic sets. That's a fun way to go, because then you have a piece of every one of those sets, right? Whenever someone talks about high voltage, I got my high voltage card out of 500. Everybody talks about 24 karat gold. I have that. Or talks about a PMG. Well, I have that. I don't have PMG anymore, but you can say our essentials credentials now or a future, or exquisite 2003, whatever it is. You kind of have a dog in the fight. You're playing in that game. Makes it kind of fun. But it doesn't have to always be that major player, because none of us can afford to do that. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun you can still have. There's different values and opportunities to get cards from great players without cracking the bank open.
Good stuff, man. Well, hey, we're at the 40-minute mark, so why don't we wrap here, and hopefully we can come back next week.
Let's try to do it, man. I'd like to see, comment below what you guys think of all the stuff we're talking about. I mean, there's a lot going on in our conversation today. So there's a lot of veering and back and forth and all over.
There's just a lot going on in the card hobby, and there's a lot of fun stuff going on. So yeah, let us know what you're doing. Holler back.
Let us know what you're doing, man. Yeah, sounds good, man. Thanks for having me, bro. You guys all have fun collecting.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Take care.